This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. Please consider this a vitamin or a supplement for your heart and mind. And wherever you receive your podcasts from, would you please go back and subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? And would you leave a rating and a brief written review? I cannot express to you how unbelievably important that is in order to help others to find this podcast. How do you handle setbacks? I have 8 steps for us to consider today in handling setbacks. Setbacks happen to anyone in life who is trying to make progress, and that is everyone. All of us have had them. Don't let your setbacks set you back. They're going to happen. As a matter of fact, to where I am today from where I started in life, my journey, like your journey, has been circuitous. It hasn't been a straight line from point A to point B. As a matter of fact, there are times, if you were to map out my life, it would be circular at times. It would go all different kinds of directions, but they got me to where I am today. And if you're seeking to make progress, setbacks, disappointments, things not working out, they are inevitable. They will happen. You can have setbacks in your health, setbacks in your relationships, setbacks in your finances, a setback in your career. Someone could come and hand you a pink slip and say thanks but no thanks, or the one that is heard all of the time, we have decided to go a different direction. And I could go on and on, all of the various areas of our lives that we will experience setbacks. But let's talk about 8 things we need to do and how we handle setbacks, the inevitable setbacks when they do indeed come to our lives. Well, the first one is really obvious if you think about it, and that is just to expect them. I am amazed being around people all of my life that when someone has a problem, someone has something that goes wrong in their life, a disappointment, something they did not see, and they feel it's unfair, people act as if they are the first person in the history of the universe who has experienced something not going their way. They're the first person to have a health situation, first person to lose a job, the first person to lose money on an investment, the first person to invest in training a crackerjack staff to have them all leave you and feeling like you have been stabbed in the back. Listen, expect that there are going to be setbacks, and these setbacks will come sometime at one time in nearly every area of your life. You just have to expect that they're going to happen. So expect them. Expect them is something to do a little ahead of when it happens. But now let's move into the area when you are in the midst of and you are experiencing a real disappointment, a real setback. Here's the second step. Acknowledge that it happened. Don't participate in a cover-up. Don't keep whistling a happy tune and going on and pretending as though everything is normal and it didn't happen. You can't get healed. You can't get past it. You can't even learn from it, which we'll talk about in a moment, until you acknowledge. I've been through many setbacks in my life, and as I kind of ponder them in preparation for this podcast today, I realized that the places and the times where I was more stuck than other times was simply because I was trying to act as if it didn't happen. And you have to stop what you're doing, name it, acknowledge it. It really did happen. It's awful. It's too bad. But you can't go on as if nothing happened. Something did happen. And the step that you need to take is you just need to acknowledge and say, yes, this just did happen. Now, that leads me to the third step, which seems almost the opposite of the second step, and that is, though you need to acknowledge it, the third step is don't dwell on them. I have met people who have experienced setbacks 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago, 50 years ago, and they have never gotten over it. They've never gotten past their past. If you talk with them about it today, it's as fresh as if it happened this morning. They have somehow stopped progressing, stopped moving, stopped developing, and they have pitched their tent in the valley of pity and will not move on. I've had those things happen. When you are in the midst of it, you think, my life is over. I will never make it through this situation. I'm here to tell you, not because I'm smarter than you, not because I have more talent, not because I've had less problems. I'm here to tell you, I have lived through some cruel blows, some major disappointments, some setbacks that rocked me on my heels, that were so bad at times I thought if I had a towel, I would throw it in. But I'm also here to tell you, you can't dwell there. Go ahead, take however many minutes, an hour, a day, a week. Have a major pity party. Invite all of your pity party friends to come and help pour more pity on you. But then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. Do not become a settler. Do not settle in that negative zone. Don't dwell on it forever. That's the third step in how to handling a setback, leader. The fourth is really a question I like to ask myself. I've acknowledged it. I've named the setback, the problem, the disappointment. I've gotten through my anger, my disappointment, my hurt, my fear, and I'm refusing to dwell there. Then the fourth step is to ask myself this very important question. Now what? All right, it happened. It was a major setback. It really has knocked me off my game. It's really going to change things. That's fine. But now what? What am I going to do now? If you don't ask yourself that question in all seriousness, you will begin to dwell. You'll see that there is no hope, there's nowhere to go, and so you're just going to dwell in the midst of all of that negativity. Now what? All right, I guess I'm not going to get to my destination in a straight line. How can I improve my health? How can I get back on track financially? What am I going to do in regards to my career? What do I do about this relationship and future relationships? Or whatever the situation is, ask yourself, the fourth step to handling a setback is, okay, here we are, it's real, it happened. Now what am I going to do where I am right now? And that just automatically leads you to the fifth step in handling a setback, and that is, don't think long-term immediately, think tomorrow. Now, you know I'm a long-term planner, but that long-term plan, and then I tell you about let's go out there to where we want to be and then work our way back so we'll know what to do every day. Right now, when you've had an emotional battle and a major discouragement and something that has happened that has somewhat traumatized you, and it's thrown your planning and your thinking out the window, you have to get back on track. Now, this is my opinion, but hear what I'm saying. You have to not get back on track in 2 years. You have to get back on track tomorrow. So I'm not saying you need to change your goal. You may indeed need to recommit to what that goal or dream or vision was. It just means you may have to take another route to get there. And so, for at least the foreseeable future, think, what steps do I need to take tomorrow to get moving from where I am standing right now? What do I need to start moving? Mostly in a setback, the biggest thing that happens is we lose momentum. And all of us know that when you have momentum on your side, there's hardly anything you can't accomplish. And we also know that when we lose momentum, it's hard to do anything. And so usually a setback, I would say nearly 100% of the time, a setback causes us to lose momentum. So to get momentum moving, what action are you going to take today and tomorrow to get moving? That's where you need to think. And then in a day or two, you can think 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, a week from now. But what is the step that you can take today and tomorrow to get moving? Number 6, the 8th step in how to handle setbacks, both present and the ones that are coming in the future, is, as a leader, there are certain things that we have to do that other people don't do. And one of them is, if you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to get real comfortable with discomfort. Most people never become a leader because they don't like being uncomfortable. They don't like having people angry with them. They don't like knowing that a decision that they made cost them a friendship. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that if you're going to be a leader, there are going to be painful times in your life. Now, before I become just overly wallowing in discouragement, here's what I'm really saying is, there are wonderful things to being a leader. There are great perks. There are wonderful, exhilarating things that happen in your life. But listen to me, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. To be a leader, you are going to be in uncomfortable situations often. And first and foremost on that list of uncomfortable events are setbacks, disappointments, failures, the death, it appears, that day of a dream. To be an effective leader, make yourself comfortable with discomfort. And you'll say, that sounds crazy. Well, let me just tell you something. Whether you get comfortable with it or not, it's going to come. I'm not saying become crazy and just say, I'm going to do everything I can to be in uncomfortable situations the rest of my life. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, many people, when they aspire to be a leader, never think about the discomfort and the uncomfortable circumstances and situations, and even the fracturing of relationships that you hold near and dear to your heart. One of the ways that you learn to handle setbacks is, all right, I don't like this. This is not comfortable, but I know to be the leader that I want to be and need to be, I have to get comfortable with discomfort. Number 7 is kind of like number 5, the 7th step in how to handle your setbacks, and that is, get up today and take a step forward. You remember when you learned how to ride a bicycle and you fell? I don't know anyone who got on a bicycle and became a perfect, expert bicycle rider. There were a lot of skinned knees and crashing into bushes and doing things that we had to make a choice. Boy, that was painful. That was uncomfortable. I think I'm not ever going to be a bike rider, and you abandoned your dream to ride a bicycle. No one did that. The same thing as a child when they take a step. Every child that learns to walk falls down, but they get up and they take a step forward. I have been there where the pain has been unbelievable, the disappointment heartbreaking. I don't just sympathize, I empathize. But wherever you are and whatever you've experienced, leader, dust yourself off, stand up, and take an action. If your boyfriend or girlfriend broke your heart, take a step and keep trusting people. If you lost money in some way, learn to find another way to try to move forward financially. If the hire did not work and you had to let them go, don't just say, I'll do it all myself this time. Begin looking for the next person. Don't become stuck. Take a step forward. And the eighth and the final step in how to handle setbacks, let me give it to you. Learn from what you have just gone through. A recent setback and heartache and disappointment that I've gone through, I've had a person or two now, and I'm far enough removed from it that I have gone through this process that I try to go through with every setback and disappointment. And that is, what can I learn? Not just what can I learn about others, but what can I learn about myself? How can I be a better decision maker? How can I be a better leader? Are there any steps that I can take in my life to mitigate this ever happening to me again? Don't waste the crisis. Don't waste the problem. Don't waste the setback and disappointment. Do your best to learn something significant from what you've gone through. You have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust that this has been a vitamin and a supplement for your mind and heart. And again, wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a brief rating and review? It would be helpful. Remember, leader, setbacks are going to happen. You need to get comfortable with discomfort. This is Dr. Ron saying to you, leader, you're doing better than you think you are. And until next time, have a great and blessed day.